My name's Graham. I'm here from Doteasy. I'm actually part of our customer service group here. And I'm going to be showing you guys the Microsoft Surface here, which just came out a little while ago. We got our hands on this. We're kind of happy about this because we all love our tech toys over here. But we're going to be showing you this because it's supposed to be replacing the notebook soon. It is a tablet device with a keyboard, so it's going to be doing anything you pretty much need it to from the sounds of it. And so we're taking a look at this to show you guys kind of what it is, what it's about, and so that we have an experience towards this to let you guys know what's going on. And so if you call in to us, we're going to be able to help you with this. Now this is the actual unboxing, which means we haven't taken a look at this either. We're going to be kind of showing you what it is for this. So I mean, from this is actually the 32 gig model. It's the normal black, which it really only comes in right now, but it does have different colors for the keyboard if you pick it up. The price tag's a little high up there, so I mean, if you're not sure, you may want to hold off on it a bit. They do have a newer version coming out, which is the Pro version. They also do have a 32 and a 64 gig version. This is the 32, but we're going to take a look at this. We're going to give you guys a hands-on look at this as well. I'm going to see what it is. So we're just going to take off the case here with a little bit of security tape. Slide it out, and here we go. So from what we can see here, it's split into two different groups. So we got this here, which is the actual keyboard itself. As you can see, it's almost like a felt material, nice there. It's got a little trackpad too, as well as there's two little buttons. I don't know if you can see them that well here, to represent the mouse as well. This is the full keyboard that you're going to be using. It does have magnetic clips here, so this whole top section is a magnet, and it does have the prongs here, so it connects directly up to it. So we're just going to put this aside here for a sec because it's the first little toy we can play with. We're going to actually get the device open. Now there is some more security tape here, so just give me a second. We'll peel this off, and then we'll open it back up. Now as you can see here, we've got the actual device all covered in the screen, and we've got the actual power adapter itself. I mean, in terms of power adapters, they're mostly the same. Slides out prong, fairly similar to the iPad or any other tablet device if you used one before. Just have the Windows logo only, so I mean, if you do like the black or don't like the sticker, you can always take it off. And it's got the security warnings. The actual one itself is a magnetic prong, which sticks on there, so it's going to stay on there if you need it to, and that's how you're going to power it up. I mean, that's really all there is to the power thing, so we're going to put that to the side. Now we're going to take out the main toy itself. So this itself is the tablet, as you can see. I mean, in terms of tablet size, it's a little larger than normal. Weight-wise, it's a little heavier than normal too, but it does have a lot more to it. Now with the weight though, it is fairly evenly distributed. So even if you do have a little issue with the weight, it's going to be even no matter where you're holding it, whether it's on the end, whether it's in the middle, whether it's one hand or two. Now in terms of the size, across the top here, so this way we've got 10 by 81 or 1081 inches, so 10.81, and for this here we've got 6.77 inches, and then thickness wise, you can see that there, that's 0.37 inches. So I mean, it's a little thicker than some of the other tablet devices on the market right now, so it's not too bad. I mean, in terms of phone size, it's about the same size, as maybe a little smaller than your iPhone itself or any other kind of Windows Phone, Galaxy, anything else. I mean, but in terms of tablets, it's a little on the larger side, but we're kind of okay with that. Weight size is actually 1.5 pounds. So you may say that's a little heavier, but it's not too bad at all. Now this here is a little differently made, although we do still have the tape on here in the casing. The actual casing itself is now made with vapor magnesium. Now this is harder than the aluminum that's normally used for any kind of tablet device that's on the market right now. It's a little more durable too, and that's where a little bit of the extra value bundle comes in here, because it's lighter than a normal tablet, so that means they're packing more stuff in here, which is a lot better. So now we're going to take off the little tape, and we're actually going to take a look at it. So here, as you can see, is the actual tablet device itself. Got the little Windows button at the bottom to get back there. The whole thing itself is a touch screen. You can see the actual screen itself is about that far in. The screen itself is 10.6 inches. It's clear type. It is HD display, so you're going to get some nice video quality if you do want it. The actual resolution itself is 1366 by 768 pixels itself, and it does support 16 by 9, which is widescreen for any of those who are watching videos or just prefer to have an actual wider screen itself. Now it does have an actual camera on the front, which you can see here. It also does have one on the back as well. So you do have the cameras on both sides. In terms of here, you have the power button across the top. You've got your speakers on either side, which you're going to see, which is nice. And because you're holding it like this, the speakers and everything are going to be out here, so they're rather convenient. It does have headphone port on the side as well. And for this here, it also does have USB ports. You do get a full USB port, which is nice. As you can see here, it's rather small though. It does have micro HDMI as well. So if you do have any kind of high-def TV or output device, you're going to be able to hook this in and view everything nicely. And here you can see the actual magnetic side where the battery is going to go in. So it does clip right on there automatically, and it's going to hold itself fairly tight for you. So that's not bad. Now, one of the main features we can see here is the actual kickstand itself on the back. Just got to get this open. So as you can see, I mean, it's fairly simple open and close. It does slow down a bit when it closes, which is nice. Now, one other thing which is probably impossible to show you here is right in the corner here, there's an actual micro SD chip. So if you do have anything like a camera or anything else or anything you want to get off a micro SD chip, it does have it stored here in the back, so you can safely put it in there. Now, a couple things to note with this, which are kind of weird but a little interesting at the same time, is the camera on the back here is actually tilted frontwards. You really can't see it here, but it is actually elevated a bit, and the reason for that is the same edges on the side are also elevated. It's actually at 22 degrees, just for those of you who want to know the exact value, but what it's designed for is so when you put it down with the kickstand, this camera out front is pointing straight forward. So that means if you're talking or if you're trying to set it down to take pictures, you're going to get a nice even picture or nice even video. Now, when you're holding it up front or in your hand like so, you need to be aware that you're going to have to hold it down at about a 22-degree angle if you want to see that same video or even level playing field on the front. The front camera, however, it doesn't appear to be done. It looks like it's actually flat, but we will need to check that out once it's on. But that one itself, it does have that on the front, so those of you who use Skype or anything else can definitely do your FaceTime. You still got that in here as well. Now, in terms of the actual keyboard, we're going to go back to that, and we're just going to put the kickstand out. Just going to put this aside. Oh, and there is instruction booklets and everything else, the good old warranty stuff that we normally just throw aside. But you're more than welcome to look through there if you want. It does have actual instructions of where everything is on the ports, although we've already gone through them just from basically looking at it. So here itself is the keyboard. As we said before, it's magnetically locked up here, so it's going to try and connect itself. And it does have the connection ports up here, so it's not going through Bluetooth or anything else. So you're going to get a nice, smooth reaction from it. No kind of lag or anything like that. So we're going to try and put it on here. It does fasten onto the bottom, and it's just supposed to click right in. And there you go. I mean, from there, it's already in. So as you can see, just get close and bam. It automatically connects in, connectors in. As you can see, it does cover it properly. So just like any iPad case or anything else. So it is convenient when you're walking around. It adds a little bit of thickness to it, but again, I'm pretty okay with that because you're getting a nice keyboard with it. So from this here, you can then just use it if you wanted, even just flat out yourself, or it's meant mostly when you have the kickstand out. So when you have the kickstand out like that, you have a keyboard flat across. As you can see here, it is felt itself. When you press on it, it is touch or pressure activated. So if you wipe your hands across here, it won't actually react at all. It requires you to actually press down on it. As you notice, there's not going to be any clicks or anything else. So it does require you to have a little more knowledge of where your hands are on the keyboard. And you're going to need to make sure that you're pressing everything you want. It may take a little bit of getting used to, but I don't think it's going to be that bad in terms of size because it's fairly similar to a laptop if you're used to that. And most keyboards are kind of similar to this one. Now you're going to notice a couple differences on the keyboard. Number one is there's no F buttons across the top, so F1 through 12 are all gone. So you're going to need to use the function key at the bottom here, but you can still get all the basic usage. It does have the extra buttons which you're normally used to seeing on most newer keyboards, which is nice, especially on a tablet device. So you can control things like the volume, you can play videos and everything straight from the actual keyboard itself. It does have a trackpad for a mouse. So if you do feel you're a little more uncomfortable with using the touchscreen interface, you do have the mouse here and it does have the two buttons if you're more comfortable with that. Now with the addition of the USB, you can always put a mouse on there. Right now they're saying that there's only a couple things that's really supported because everybody's still developing drivers for it. So you can use certain types of printers, you can use additional mice, They've even got a couple webcams and everything else working for it. So if you want to attach anything, even an external hard drive to this thing, you definitely can. It's not bad. So you do have that option as well besides the track and the keyboard. And I mean, everybody's favorite test will now do that now, which is the dragging one. Now, you're more than welcome to do this. I highly suggest you always put your hand underneath just in case you drop it. Because I mean, we're talking about an expensive piece of technology. So if you drop it, I mean, let's try to avoid anything. But as you can see, like, it's fairly sturdy. It's on there. If you shake it like mad, it's naturally going to fall off. But in terms of magnets, it's pretty good. It's going to hold on there. And if you end up slipping or losing it, I mean, it's probably going to hold on there and save yourself a fall, which is fairly nice. So, I mean, it's all on there. It's all set up. In terms of those of you who are wanting tech spec-wise, I mean, it is fairly close to most notebooks and tablets on the market right now. So this currently has a quad core. It's an ARM Cortex A9. Now with this here, the Pro is coming out with its own version, which is instead an NVIDIA Tegra 3, for those of you who know what that is. So they do have different versions between the current version and the one that's planned to come out soon. Now additionally, besides all the ports and everything we've noted here, it does also have 2 gigs of RAM. So for those who are going to be doing a lot of videos or things like that, you may find it's a little laggy on the HD side of things, but on the general usage, not going to be a problem at all. You're going to see it works fairly fine. Major additions to it, just kind of looking at everything before we turn it back up, just because it does take a little bit of time to install Windows RT, which is its own operating system right now. Those of you who have Windows 8 beta or have tried that are going to notice it's very similar. It's all touchscreen oriented. It will be familiar to those of you who have used other tablets in the past. It does have the ability to go into a desktop still, so you can get access to Windows Office, Internet Explorer. It does come with the newer Internet Explorer 10, which is quite interesting because it does have Flash support. So that means that those of you who have been using Apple products like an iPad or an iPhone, who are frustrated not being able to watch videos and everything, this is finally an answer to that. So you're going to be able to watch anything you want because it does support Flash, which is great. So I mean, for the package itself, it's not bad. For those of you who have the money for it, it's definitely something to look over. It is revolutionizing the market and it is expected to take off just because it does offer everything a tablet does have now, a little bit more with some of the features. But the main keyboard edition is a big saver, especially for those of you who are using business, because it does come with Office itself right now, which is Word, Excel, PowerPoint, most of the major programs. It doesn't have all of them just yet because it's using a special version of 2013, which isn't actually out for PC yet. So it does have its own special little things for it. Now, those of you who do like those things like Word and everything, you're going to be able to use full notepads. So you're going to be able to do work pretty much anywhere you want now with the tablet device. The battery life on this is actually pretty good. It's 8 hours is what their specs say. Personally, I generally give it about an hour either way. It does depend on each battery. But I mean, if you're using all the high specs, you're going to get 8 hours supposedly. We can't really see that until we test it out. But I mean, if you're not even using wireless or anything, expect it to go on much longer. You do have the ability to actually control the power once you're in it. So I mean, you can make it last longer if you want. But that, in a nutshell, is what we can see from the original unboxing. If anything else, we're going to actually try and turn this on later and maybe give you guys a little demo of kind of the operating system, how the keyboard functions. Because it's not Bluetooth, you're going to see that it moves kind of smoothly. So it is nice to work with it. And then we'll also show you the operating system, kind of the Internet Explorer 10, what you can do with our software, such as like installing apps and things like that. So we're going to give you a whole run through itself. But because it does take a little bit of time to set up the operating system, as any of you have noticed when you're setting up a brand new PC or anything, so we're going to kind of skip out on that, and we're going to do that ourselves. But once it's all back up and running, we're going to come back to you guys. We're going to show you a little run through of everything there. Welcome back. We've set this all up. It does take a bit of time. It does have a bunch of ridiculous security precautions. I especially dislike the CAPTCHA. But all in all, we've got it especially set up. But I mean, the security is nice if you're going to do it. One thing I've noticed here is it does get a little warm on the top, which is a little surprising for one here. So you can see the power connector is in there. It magnetically locks in there, so it's all hands off. We've got the keyboard, the kickstand, everything set up. And for those of you who have never used Windows 8, it's currently beta. It looks very similar to this. This is actually Windows RT. It's their own operating system specifically designed for this tablet right now. They are going to have some new additions. The Pro may have a different version they haven't really said right now. It does look like they're going to use the same kind of OS for this, but right now this is the one we've got to work with for this. Now, as you can see here, it's done a little differently There's no desktop, although you can get back to a desktop. There is no desktop by default. It's all done by touch screen here, so you can just swing across. So those of you coming from other tablets are going to feel real comfortable with this. It just glides across. Those of you who are used to like an iPad are going to have the usual screens on the side, which you kind of do across. This one is a lot more smoother, you'll notice, which is nice going from an iPad, which I personally had more use versus the other ones like the Galaxy Tab and the Google one as well as the other tablets themselves. Now, as you can see, there's a whole bunch of things. If you want to get apps, there is a Microsoft Store, which is the one you're going to have to go to. You can just simply click and get up to it. So this is where you're going to be getting most of your apps if you're just coming to it. Most notably right now, there's things like Netflix enabled. You can get things set up through your Xbox account, like games, music, and videos. As you can see here, everything is in here. It's going to have WordPress and other things, Wikipedia. Now, the main thing about this, for those of you who are into social media, is there is no Twitter app currently. So you will have to go through the Internet Explorer browser, and same thing with Facebook. But they are planning to come out with them whenever, we don't know, but they are definitely working on everything. But that's kind of where you're going to be getting the apps and most of the things from it. Now, the main notable features of this one are that it does have Internet Explorer 10, which, as we said before, does have Flash, which is great. So if you're watching videos or anything else, it's definitely going to come up there. Additionally, it does have what they're calling a preview version of 2013 Office. It is, from what we've heard, mostly just the same features. But as you can see from the section here, we've got OneNote, we've got Excel, we've got Word, and we've got PowerPoint, which are, for those of you who are using it mostly for business purposes, those are the main ones there. So now, one thing we wanted to show you especially was with the keyboard. Now, for this one here, we're going to actually open up into Word, just so you can see what it's like. Now, for this here, it's going to come up and ask you kind of what you want to do. We're just going to pick a blank document for here. Now, because this isn't USB, but an actual touch keyboard that's hooked in, you're not going to see the usual lag that comes about with any kind of other keyboard, like a Bluetooth keyboard especially. USB is going to be fairly similar. This one's a little smoother just because it's directly integrated in. Now, you are going to need to get used to the actual keyboard itself. Like we said before, it is felt. It is pressure sensitive, so for instance, if I wave my hand across here, it's not actually typing anything. You do need to press down on it. Now, you are going to need to get familiar with it just because there's no edges to the key. So like me personally, when I've been playing around with this, setting up the account, it does take a little bit of time to get used to it. But I mean, if you're once you get used to it, you can type it in fairly easily. Now, one thing just to note is that you are going to hear a sound. I don't know if you can hear it right now, but if you do type, there is an actual sound. So this is a sentence. I mean, but from what you can see, it's really not bad. It is fairly smooth. You can backspace, do everything you want. You do have the trackpad, so it is going to move. It's fairly decent. I mean, it's comparable to any laptop I've done. It does glide a little more than most laptop pads, but I mean, it's pretty good in terms of that. You do have the ability to either use the buttons. So as you can see here, if I right click, it does bring up the menu. You do have full option of going through the actual touchscreen as well, so you can kind of mix and match to see what you want to do with it. So it is quite nice. The actual the whole track and everything, it does go very smoothly, so it is very fun to work with. It's not bad. It's actually a little better than I was initially anticipating it to be, and especially from everything I've heard. So if we just close out of this here for a second, you're going to see this is the actual desktop for what most of you are used to whenever you're using Windows. Now, a couple things to note. Number one, there's no start button because this is a limited desktop. You're mostly only going to come here to use the Office features. It does have Internet Explorer, which you can get access to as well. And then you can go into the file manager to kind of move things around in a much more comfortable format for you. You can control a couple things with the batteries and the Wi-Fi and everything. But for the most part, the desktop is what they're trying to get away from. Now, just like most normal tablets or other devices, you can just click on the button at the bottom, and that's how you get back to the main screen. So it is very easy to get out and back again. So as we can see here, the middle section is done, so you can glide across. Now, the main thing that's different about this as well from most other things is there's actually 3 sections to the screen. There's the main section, which we're looking at right now. There's actually one off to the right and one off to the left. And the way you can pull this up is you actually come off the side and drag it out. And there you'll see your actual menu is there. And you can select different options from that, and you just glide it back in. Same as any program that's open. We've actually got a couple open right now. If you drag off to the left, you can see everything that's open right now, and you can go back into them as well. So it is fairly nice that way. So you can easily get back in there, and you can see the things we've got open that we were taking a look at are there as well. So you do have that option. You can drag them out to the middle, or you can just leave them in there and not even worry about it. And at any time you can always hit the Windows menu to go back. So that's kind of the way you're going to be moving around this tablet device itself. You can again use the mouse if you want, but the operating system is really not geared towards it, so I would really suggest shying away from that. Now, one thing you can do here is if we pick any of them, like Internet Explorer here, we happen to got something open. So we're just going to pull that up. There we go. So as you can see, you can drag it out. You can even do what I just did here by accident, actually, which is you can set up a separate link on the side, which goes ahead and allows it so you can instantly click back to it at any given time. Now in the main section here, as we can see, this is Internet Explorer. We've actually come up to our Doteasy page. So this is our channel on YouTube. And this is kind of show you that it does support Flash fully. So I mean, if we run the video here, it's going to be able to play it off the Wi-Fi, which is really nice. So anytime you want to actually go ahead and play any video or anything like that, it's going to give you the option to do so for you. So it is really nice for those of you who are big junkies on the internet, who enjoy using anything like YouTube to watch videos, or if you're just watching Flash videos of other things like Comedy Central or anything else, you're going to be able to watch those videos with no problems at all, which is really, really nice for this system. And in terms of, because you do have the Internet Explorer and it is fully up and available, you can go ahead and you can set up anything you want. So if you're using our services, for instance, with Doteasy, you can install web apps, you can go through view your site, you can even make changes through our own file manager. If you do need to make minor changes, you can contact us, you can do anything. I mean, this really gives you everything a notebook's going to offer, it gives you everything a tablet's going to offer. The keyboard is nice and smooth, so it does work very well. It will take a little bit of getting used to, I'm not going to lie. It did take a little bit for me when I was setting it up, like I said. The Internet Explorer 10 is nice because it does have the Flash support. In terms of Internet Explorer, I know some of you don't like using it. Personally, I use all three for whatever I need to. But in terms of Internet Explorer, I'm finding this one pretty nice. Most of the others I found kind of clunky, but this one's pretty decent from what I've seen. It does have the ability to store, and I mean, they have said they're working on it to get more apps and everything working for it. Those of you who are gamers, it does have the Xbox sports, you can get in there. Doesn't have all the games across yet, but they are saying they're porting everything. So those of you who are more into the social side of things are going to see a lot more pickup soon. So if you're on the edge about it, you may want to wait. But those of you who are into more of the social aspect things, definitely in down there. If you need to set up email or anything, it does come up with Windows Live Mail automatically. I believe you can get apps for other versions too, but that's the only one I've heard of that works successfully on it right now. But you can easily set that up just as similar to a computer or anything else. So if you need anything like that set up, we can definitely do so for you. There's not a problem. But in a nutshell, that's the actual system. It does support everything here. If you are willing or wanting to pick it up, we can easily help you with anything you need in terms of setting up the email. I mean, if you have any questions, we can try to solve it as much as we can because we've worked with it. But I mean, you may want to direct certain things, of course, to Microsoft because it is their product. But in terms of a notebook, we're really thrilled with this, and we look forward to kind of what they're going to be giving from now on. And we think that this is definitely going to trend into the new notebook replacement as well. This is Graham from Doteasy. Thanks for tuning in.